have you been doing graffiti?
I've been doing graffiti for about 7 years now.
What are the traditions of graffiti or the main concepts?
The main concept and tradition of graffiti is get the most up, be the most visible, be everywhere really.
Why is the location of your tag so important?
The location where you bomb is really just, you want it to be the most seen, you want it to be the most visible. Personally, I want it to be the most legible so you can read it.
Is it competitive?
It's only competitive, that's the only thing.
What are some of your favorite things about graffiti in Queens?
Favorite things for sure is the amount of love that you get in Queens. You know, as much hate as there is, there's always a lot of love.
Describe the interactions you've seen between police and graffiti writers.
I've seen people get chased by the police. You know, I've seen the police go the wrong way in traffic just to catch people for tagging. But I've also seen the police turn a blind eye to graffiti a lot, especially when it's like late at night and the police are patrolling the streets. They're not gonna really care if you're out tagging just like a wall that's not private property. They're not really gonna care.
What are the punishments that you think happen with graffiti writers?
For the most part, if you're just out tagging and they decide to arrest you, you're only gonna really just get like a summons and probably like a fat ticket. But if you're a consistent writer and they got your name in the system and they catch you tagging, they're probably gonna pull out your file and they'll hit you with something like pretty big. They'll probably give you a couple of years actually. People have done time for graffiti.
How do you think outsiders view graffiti?
I feel like outsiders view graffiti as straight up vandalism, as a crime.
Do you see any tradition behind it in Flushing?
I feel like there's a lot of tradition in graffiti in Flushing because it's been around for decades now. It's just evolving.
How would you describe the overall growth? Do you believe crime and violence has gone up as well?
I feel like because of the pandemic, it's exploded. There's just so many new writers, there's so many new taggers, and on top of that, people who have stopped painting and doing graffiti have came out during the pandemic, so I feel like there's a huge growth of graffiti recently.
What made you want to become part of this community?
I mean, graffiti is therapeutic for me. Like, it helps me relieve stress when I go out bombing, painting. It's fun, and it gives me like a rush whenever you do it. Like, crazy nights happen, a lot of crazy shit happens.
What are your favorite things about the graffiti community in Queens, more inclusively Flushing?
My favorite thing's gotta be the amount of love you get. You know, there's a lot of love out here. You go bombing, painting, you see someone else that's painting, it's a lot of love. Like, you're gonna paint together. Gone up, you know, not because of the graffiti, but there's definitely a correlation with the graffiti and the crime that has risen.
How would you describe the difference between graffiti in the community versus in other states or areas?
Especially in Queens, like, graffiti was birthed here, so I feel like we definitely have writers that have been writing for many more decades than writers out in other states, and everybody's here definitely more passionate about it.
Thank you for answering my questions.
You're welcome.